Welcome to Right on the Mark with your host, Mark Young. Today we're going to be talking about a very popular drink, coffee. Coffee goes way back, a lot longer than I could remember, as a matter of fact. And I was never a coffee drinker, never ever a coffee drinker. I was more of a soda drinker, Mountain Dew drinker in the morning. Just something to get you going. Even growing up as a kid, it was always just taking a can of soda out of the refrigerator, grabbing a can of Faygo out of the refrigerator. My mom and dad always stocked that stuff, and I guess that I just got to liking all the soda drinks. So I'd have whatever in the morning, like soda, iced tea, whatever was available, lemonade, something like that. And if I was on the go, they didn't have bottles of water back then growing up as a kid. They just had cans of soda pop. And in the Mon Valley, we called everything pop. Whether it was orange pop, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, it was pop. I'll take a pop. It was one of those things. But, coffee's been around forever. I can remember watching Back to the Future show whenever Marty McFly walked into the restaurant and said, give me a Pepsi free. And, the short order cook said, I'm not giving you anything free. He's like, look, buddy, just give me something without sugar. And they served Marty McFly with a coffee with no cream. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But, over the years, I'm trying to evolve as I get older. And I remember working a few years ago with a buddy of mine. His name was Tanner. Very well-rounded kid, just got out of college. And, he always had an opinion on something. And he's like, Mark, why are you always drinking soda in the morning? You're coming in with a bottle of Mountain Dew or Diet Mountain Dew or Coke or Diet Coke or what have you. And he's like, that stuff is so bad for you. Why are you even drinking it? They've done studies on it. There's stuff in Mountain Dew that you can't even pronounce. And the people that created Mountain Dew don't even know what it is that they put in it. There's some type of chemicals in it. And, Tanner was always one to be very influential. He'd always suggest all this stuff. He'd always be like, oh, you got to try this, you got to try that. And he'd be very convincing in whatever he'd talk about, whatever he was saying, So, hey, I'm in a trying mood one day, and he's like, why don't you try to get on to coffee or maybe try some tea or something? And he wasn't even a coffee or tea drinker. He just drank a lot of water, but flavored water at that. He would always flavor it with some type of pouch or something like that, which I have tried as well too, but that kind of got boring as well. So, some of the stuff I've read about coffee in the news, I used to get this men's magazine, and they would always recommend 2 to 3 cups in the morning of coffee. It does wonders. It regulates your heartbeat, it regulates your body, your whole system, and you just feel kind of warm inside and refreshed and all that jazz. And I'm like, well, let me give it a try. So one day I'm like, well, how the heck do you make coffee? That was a whole nother thing was, if the lovely Kim wasn't around here to serve coffee to our guests, I don't know who would, because I don't even know how to make a pot of coffee. So that was just a whole different area was, coffee making, because I wasn't really brought up on it. My whole family drinks coffee. Dana, Debbie, and Michael drink coffee. My mom and dad drink coffee, but I was never the coffee type. I just never entertained it. I remember growing up as a kid, I don't know, maybe 7, 8, or 9. I went to one Monessen High School football game one time. My dad sent me up to the concession stand, and he's like, hey, Mark, go grab me a coffee too. I'm like, oh, sure, all right. So I came back with a coffee, and on the way back down to our seats, I remember taking a sip, and I'm like, oh, that is really bitter. It was just bitter. I'm like, oh, this is nasty. I don't know how people could drink this stuff, but I guess I understand it now because it was cold football nights and it was something to drink, something to perk you up, something warm to keep you warm on a cool fall night during a game. But for the most part, I'm like, no, I'm never ever going to drink coffee. It just doesn't make sense. But after everything that I've heard my buddy Tanner telling me, I'm like, I got to try something. As a matter of fact, Tanner, he even gave me this one scenario. He's like, it might have been national news too. He knew of this guy that went for a whole year and just tried to lose weight by eating McDonald's food. And he ate nothing but McDonald's for a whole year. And he did lose weight. However, he wasn't the healthiest of persons after that. I always like to hear stats like that. But So I'm like, how am I going to get into this coffee craze? Seattle has all these coffee houses, and they're all over the place. People love Starbucks. And, I remember for the longest time, I could never go to Starbucks because there's no way I could figure out how to order something like that because I just don't understand the language, the lingo of like the Starbucks cult. The Starbucks cult could say, oh, give me a grande of macchiato, something, 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 grand caramel with frothing and all this other jazz. And I'm like, there's no way I could learn that lingo. So for me to start trying to drink a morning drinking coffee is probably, I'm going to have to start out with the basics. So I turned to the lovely Kim, and she's always down to earth, and she can give you enough info to get started. So she's like, well, why don't you try these pods first? I'm like, well, explain to me exactly what a pod is. I know what a percolator is. I remember seeing coffee percolating all the time, but I think kids nowadays don't even know what a percolator is. You could probably explain it to them, but they'll be like, what in the world is that? As a matter of fact, we did have coffee brewing one time at work, and we had a large training session. I'll say 30 or 40 folks came in from out of town for a training, and we did have coffee in like a big, I don't know, maybe 2-gallon percolator, and it actually percolated. It had a dial on it and it had a light on it, and you actually couldn't drink it until you percolated. So I have no idea how they made it, but they made it and people drank it, and I'm like, well, that doesn't seem to be the norm now. The norm now is either going out to get coffee or making it in. And a friend I used to work with, she always says it never tastes the same. She was all about going out for coffee on the way into work because when you make it at home, it's just not the same. But, I had to try it. I definitely had to try it. So gave up on the soda, gave up on the Diet Mountain Dew or, Coke, whatever it was, and I tried coffee. And I'll tell you what. It was bitter at first. It was hard to take. It was really hard to take. So I had to take it in small doses if that makes sense. But, you could take a couple sips and try to get used to it. Tried some cream, tried some sugar. It was too sweet, too creamy. It took a long time to get used to it, but really didn't do much for me. They talk about all this coffee effect and all the energy or all the caffeine it has, and maybe that is true, but I really didn't feel any type of effect or anything, but probably because of all the caffeine that was in my soda that I was drinking year after year after year, that, the caffeine effect really didn't affect me because I was already used to it. So I guess I more or less had to get used to the taste than the caffeine kick in the morning that you need to get going. Not that I really needed to get going because I was never the one that jumped up out of bed and says, oh, I need a soda. It was just something that I had to drink in the morning to take my vitamins. And if I didn't have orange juice and if I didn't have milk, I wasn't a big milk drinker. I'd have soda with it. So now I'm on to coffee, and there's a lot of different pods I was trying to. So the lovely Kim would just buy me a whole bunch of different pods, and I'd go one by one. I remember sometimes she'd come home with like donut shop ones, Krispy Kremes, Dunkin' Donuts, the donut shop. I mean, the list went on, and I always thought it was funny because I'm a donut kind of guy, so I could see how donuts and coffee go together. But I guess my expectation of coffee was it tasting like a donut. But it didn't taste like a donut. It might have a picture of a donut. It might say a donut, but the coffee does not taste like a donut. So that I had to get over first because I'm like, all right, it says donut, but it doesn't taste like it. So, the lovely Kim got me a bunch of those pods, but there was other pods that she got me as well. I mean, Tim Hortons, 8 O'Clock, Pete's, Market District, of course, Starbucks. There are 17 different flavors of Starbucks, McDonald's, there was even specialty pods out there that the lovely Kim would get, like the San Francisco ones, the California Wake Up ones, stuff like that. I thought they were all different, so probably you could say that each different pod tasted different, and probably to me it tasted a lot different, but after a while you kind of got used to it, and then you kind of figure out which one that you think that you like the most. But for me it was which one was more bearable to drink in the morning rather than soda. So one by one, I would just start eliminating them. And, the lovely Kim would say, well, there's different variations of it too. So different variations of the pods, you could have like ground up beans or something like that and put in a machine, or you could have pour over coffee. A few years ago we went to Florida and we had pour over coffee. It took a lot longer to make, but just me watching him and how he made it and made the cup of coffee and how he poured it over the crushed beans or whatever they call it. But I thought it was pretty tasty. Whatever it was, I think it was some type of Colombian blend or a Nigerian blend that he called, specialty shop down in Florida. But, I thought it was pretty decent. But to me, there really is no clear-cut winner. All coffee. No two cups to me taste the same. Maybe that's what the folks like out there. That could be true. But to this day, I'm still trying to drink coffee in the morning. Not saying I like it, not saying I don't like it, but I'm thinking it's better than what I used to have, better than the soda. There's a lot of other people out there that swear by their coffee. I'll say, my niece Erica, she used to work at Starbucks and she loves Starbucks and she used to get free Starbucks. She'd bring it home for working there and she'd bring it back here and give it to the lovely Kim. And she would be like, oh, thank you, Starbucks. So I tried Starbucks in the beginning and they have their house blend. I've only tried two, I guess you could say, their house blend and then their blonde blend. And, I always liked blondes of beer whenever I'd get IPAs or some of those micro beers. Always liked the blonde beers rather than the dark beers just because the dark was just too heavy. So, I'm thinking, well, if I like blonde beers, chances are I'm going to like blonde coffee. And I did. I think Krispy Kreme makes a mild, like a mild blend of medium coffee. So it's pretty mellow. I guess I could tolerate some of that. So I might have one of those in the morning or something like that. But, you can go on and on about all the coffee shops and how they make their coffee. And, they have different variations. I know at work, people rave about our Green Mountain coffee, but I don't really know. I've never really had it at work. So I was just leery about that stuff at work. You don't know who made it, who touched it, what type of water. Now, I do know making it from home, I have a water softener, a water purifier, plus a filter on the refrigerator. So I'm pretty good. I'm pretty sure I'm getting the best taste coffee there is without the filter puration that I have in our house. I think that's pretty funny because, our water's probably pretty pure than anyone else's. But just besides all that, just the pouring of the coffee and the measuring of like how much cream you could put in a cup or how much sugar. I don't really do the sugar. One time I bought the Dunkin' Donuts extra creamy creamer at the store, and I put it in, and it tasted pretty nasty to me. So I only used a couple ounce of it, and lovely Kim didn't like it, so I ended up throwing it out. But that's another thing is you're going to end up wasting a lot of coffee as you go through the phase because you don't know what you like and what you don't like. So it's just something that I'm trying to work my way through to see how it's going and to see how I taste it. And to this day, I'm still drinking maybe one or two in the morning to see how it is, and I'm still working out on the flavors and all that fun stuff. There's been a few times where the lovely Kim and I will go to a coffee shop and maybe sit down to just spend some time together and have some conversation over coffee. And in the middle of the day, it just seems weird to be drinking coffee like that. But, a lot of people do it. And, a lot of people work at a coffee house all day long. So you could say people go to Starbucks and just put in their 8-hour shift right there. Hey, whatever gets you to do your work, that's definitely worth it. But, a lot of places that I've seen traveling with my job across the country is, you can't go too far without going past a coffee shop. And I guess some of the ones we go on vacation, we try to look for one that's a local one, not so much a franchise. Like there's Starbucks all over the place, Dunkin' Donuts all over the place. And my understanding is Dunkin' Donuts is kind of like a gourmet coffee, you could almost say, because people just really love it. And it's no longer a low-end brand. It's a pretty high-end brand. And I'm guessing that it's a very lucrative, shop to get into because you got donuts and coffee. And I remember watching a show a year or two ago that they just recently canceled. And, they had, a sitcom about, I'll say, it was Judd Hirsch in it, and some other some other characters were in it, and they were in a donut shop, and they'd eat donuts and drink coffee. And I watched that show, but it didn't last that long, maybe a year or two before they took it off the air. But some way or another, no matter, you can't get around this. So if you're watching a movie or if you're watching a show, or if you're just spending some time, people are always drinking coffee. It kind of amazes me. Like, I could walk around at a grocery store and I'll see people, drinking coffee. I'll go into a market and I'll see people drinking coffee. I'll see them drink it all day long. So, I'm guessing it's good for you, or they like it, or maybe they're just tired all day. I mean, who really knows? But I'm trying to get through all this coffee craze. We're in year 2019, so I thought I'd give it a try. The jury's still out whether I like it or not, but I'm still trying it. I'm still giving it a shot, and it's more of a morning drink to me. It's definitely a morning drink. I can't really understand a hot drink on a hot day, but in the morning, I guess if it gives caffeine and it's not a cold drink like Mountain Dew, I guess I'll take it. I mean, heck, why not try what everybody else is trying? I would love to hear what you guys think about coffee. What's your favorite coffee? How do you like your coffee? Do you like it with cream? Do you like it with sugar? Do you like it straight up, or do you like it black? I mean, I definitely need cream in mine. Can't really do the sugar, and I can't really do it plain with just the black. So it's definitely you definitely need a taste. I guess you need to acquire taste for it, is what I'm trying to say. Is once you acquire a taste for it, it might get good, but it's been years and years for me, so I'm still trying to acquire that taste. Funny, I acquired a taste for alcohol a lot faster. That deserves a strum, for sure. But as always, I always like to hear about your comments, and please comment below, and always smash the like, subscribe if you haven't, and smack the bell if you haven't already, because you don't want to miss another episode of Right on the Mark with your host, Mark Young. See you next time, folks.